Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to Coach Johnson's YouTube channel, where we talk about the power raid, the air raid, spread football, anything that has to do with coaching in general as well. Thank you to everybody that has been following along, everybody that comes and subscribes, all that good stuff. Last video killed it. I'm excited to kind of talk about a little bit about that video and a little bit more of advancement on one of the topics, which was our QB Academy and what we're going to do, because we already kind of started on that. And so I kind of wanted to fill some people in about what that looks like, how we're going to do that, all that fun stuff. And just kind of another, little tidbit is, look, I never think that I'm a master of any of this knowledge or that I know it all. I'm doing this because I love coaching. I love talking football, and it's a great way for me to also connect with other coaches so I can build off of my own knowledge through them, and that's what's been happening a lot. I've had some great conversations, been able to connect with coaches all across the country, which is just something that I really enjoy doing. So never once have I ever said I was a know-it-all, but I just want to throw it out there because, you got some trolls and haters out there in general, but, it is what it is. It's just like a parent trying to tell you what offense and what plays you should be calling. But I just wanted to throw that out there that, I'm not a know-it-all, and I'm a coach that's always trying to get better and connecting with other coaches. But so anyways, after I got off my soapbox, we're going to talk about the QB Academy and what we're doing here at Green Hope. So the goal and the purpose of our QB Academy, like I said, got in here in May and didn't get to spend a lot of time with the guys. And so now this is one of the ways that we're going to do it, and we're going to do it by position with some of our coaches whenever we get people in the building and meet with their guys, just so that they understand what their role is in the program. So we're trying to build a coach and a player relationship, and everybody knows that the QB room is usually, there's stories that comes out of all those different rooms, whether, it was Tom Brady with Belichick, and you talk about with John Gruden, just some of these rooms, the relationships are really special. And I've always had special relationships with all my quarterbacks that I've coached up, as whether I was the head coach, the OC. I love coaching the quarterbacks. So they can see where I'm coming from, and that's usually the one that you guys spend the most time with. So the big one is just building it, but also not as just coach and player, but also I want to get to know who they are. I want to know how they function. I want to know which ways they learn the best, because not every kid is built the same way, so that I know how to make sure that I break down whatever we're trying to do for all of them. And we have a tight room. Right now we have 3 or 4 until we add any freshmen. So it's tight, so I get to know who they are, get to know about their family, get to know their struggles, get to know about what they're good at. So that's something I enjoy as well. The one thing is helping them understand what it means to be a quarterback, what it means to be a quarterback in the program, what it takes to be successful at that position. Like I said, have had a couple quarterbacks that have been nationally ranked in certain statistics. They were great players, but it's just one of those things of having to help understand what that means nowadays. It doesn't always mean that, you're throwing it 50 times. It doesn't mean that you're just game manager, just handing it off. There might be times in different games, and so it's just being a point guard. Like we're talking about, like basketball, it's like being a point guard, or in baseball, being a table setter as like the leadoff hitter. You don't always have to hit the home runs. You don't always have to be the flash. You don't have to be the playmaker at all times. It's a decision maker, and when your number is called, being able to execute. And so that's kind of what we talked about on our first day. We did that last Monday actually, and we talked about. I found it from UNC. We have a coach that played at UNC, and I also saw one from when it was Mike Holmgren was the quarterback coach for the Packers when they had Brunell, Brett Favre, and also McMahon. So it was kind of called. They call it either the commandments or the quarterback room identity. And so we kind of went through some of the things that have been talked about. They talked about being the same person. You always take the blame, but then you pass on any type of success. Being selfless leader. Talks about, your job is to help score. It's not you score, it's help the team score. It's, taking leadership on and off the field. Making sure that, we talked about this as our group this last week, is whenever you are getting out there at practice, you should be the one that gets the balls ready. You should be the one that the first one's on practice. You should be on the practice field at the first time. You're getting everybody to their corners or to their areas. Whether they, for like QBs and receivers, we're big on their working together. And then we'll also have sometimes half the quarterbacks will go and work with the running backs on their mesh. So there's always something to be doing pre-practice, never standing around. And that was one of the things that we had to talk about being a leader, is just something like that is, hey, receivers, you're with us. This is the drill we're doing. Running backs, this is what we're working on today. And they have to take the initiative. Just like if we're in scout team, if the defense isn't giving us a good look, yell at them, or, and tell them, hey, this isn't going to help us. This isn't going to help you for Thursday. This isn't going to help us for Friday. That's not how the team's going to line up. And then helping when it comes to being on scout team. If you're going to take the reps as, the backup quarterback, make sure that everybody knows what they're doing. Make sure that we're going in and out of the huddle. If there's any questions, helping the coaches out with the cards, any type of stuff of just being a good leader. Another one is that we're also developing the understanding of what our offense is about, what our scheme, what our concepts, and why we're doing it, and why, as at Green Hope, why we need to do this to be effective. And then understanding my mindset when it comes to the play calling. This is when I like this concept. This is what I like to call against this defense. And understanding the why and then how to execute that. Then going into the teaching the building the football IQ, like on the last point in the verbiage, is how I say something and what it might mean if they're playing NCAA, if they're playing Madden, if they listen to any analysts, if they see anything else on YouTube. This is the same direct correlation. Just I'm using different lingo than they are. And so it's just like with the defensive scheme is like, all right, here's what cover 2, cover 3, cover 4. These are the beaters that we have in our offense that we can beat those coverages, right? If they're playing man, going through the progressions on a pass concept. All right, this is when we say this. All right, that this is who we're reading if it's in the run. All right, and then one of the big ones that we've been going through is teaching the 3 sandboxes. I got that watching off of the Glacier Drive a couple times. Now the RPO is popular. That was the breakdown. Is okay. If we're going pre-snap, it's going to be, to the side of the run, and it's going to be a pre-snap RPO. The post-snap's on the backside. And so then explain to them how they can put the offense in a good position based on number counting, whether it's in the box or it's on the 2 sides of the perimeter. And here's a big one, is having fun. We've had a blast, and the quarterbacks have enjoyed it. They text me or they come and see me like, Coach, are we doing QB Academy? Let's meet. And so it's been awesome. They've really have kind of taken the bull by the horns, and anytime that I have a chance to talk football with them during their smart lunch, we've done it. And that's kind of the hope and the plan of what these meetings are, is to create that hunger and that starvation for football when it comes here, and also that thirst of knowledge, and just trying to treat football almost, just like in school. Like if it was an AP class, okay, well, let's take it the same mindset, just like you do because of Green Hope being a high academic school, the same way that you're breaking things down and, you're doing independent work, you're doing group work. Here's the same way that you can do it in football. So we love it. And that was the biggest thing. I asked them, and they were just like, yeah, we love it. And we want to know more, blah, blah, blah. And so that's kind of something that is enjoyable. We all get a break from the rest of the world at that moment for, the time that we're together. All we're talking about is football and getting to know each other. And it's been very positive, and it's helped me, especially after the season that, we had, and just trying to, break away and just have something to look forward to every day. And that's been the Quarterback Academy. So they're loving it. I'm loving it. It's been really great, a good positive experience. So then another goal is to get on the whiteboard, film and walk through our scheme, and any questions that they have from last year. We can learn from last year's mistakes. Going forward, this is what we're running. This is how we're doing it. This is how the progression should look. And then the biggest one is their questions. Any type of their questions, helping them understand whether it's if they're more of, I need to see the whiteboard, or if they need to see it on film, or if it's just my words, or whichever way that they can learn. I try to break it down all the different ways in which those guys learn. And being able to ask questions, because for me, it's if I'm seeing what kind of questions they have, it's going to help me as a coach explain that better to them, but also to all the guys in our program and on offense. So it helps me as well. And like we said, we already talked about the build football IQ and verbiage. So that's the whole goal and the purpose of what we're trying to do in the Quarterback Academy, is we're trying to get on the same page. We're trying to get to know each other, and we're trying to improve that football IQ. So I put stick up there like in the top right, because that was the first thing that they wanted to talk about, was the passing game, and they wanted to talk about stick because they want to be a little bit better at it. And one of the things that we broke down on film was it's a quick game, and sometimes they're not even on that one rocker step and throwing. They're taking too long. And so that was one of the things of, okay, we showed an example of from a couple of my previous years, and then also a couple of clips from Twitter, and we calculated like how long it took them to make that read, whether it was cloudy or not. It's quick game, and that's what your line knows, that it's quick game, and this is how long you have it. And so that was one thing that they learned, is that they're not making their decision pre-snap like they should be. They're like, okay, let's take an example of a hard cover 2 and that guy's pressing. Okay, well then we can take that shot, but now understanding, when do I take that shot? All right, well, it's in that little hole. Like right here on the screen is like we've taught them. Depending on how hard that safety's flowing over there, and they're going to carry it to probably about 6 to 8 yards based on what their flat is told in cover 2, and then so that's that window. So we talked about that. Okay, now they're playing way off. All right, and let's just say they're playing way off and they got number 2 covered and he's going number 2, and that safety's supposed to be the one coming down because the backers are playing the box. Boom, throw it immediately. All right, you know where that's at. Okay, but now let's say that he's shaded there and he takes away that stick. All right, and they're barreling out. Boom, take that arrow. And so we're putting that conflict defender right there. You're reading off of him. So your pre-snap is, okay, if they're pressing, you want to take that, or you take your man beater on the backside. And so that was the other thing that we talked about, is here's how we're going to label, or how we're going to call our play calls, and how we're going to tag the concept and tag on our quick game and drop back, what we're going to do backside, so that we have those man beaters on one side and our concept and coverage zone beater on the other side. So that was just a little bit explanation of how we broke that down, and trying to do a better job of teaching and coaching them, so they're able to process it right now, so that when we get to the field, boom, they already have the knowledge, they know what they're doing, and now we can get all those reps, and mentally and physically. So if I'm the second quarterback, I can get those reps mentally, and I know where I would go, and then they can talk. And I told them, I was like, that's the biggest one I want here, is communicate with each other. What were you guys thinking or seeing with each other's reps? Because now you're not just playing the game while you're in, but now also mentally you're back there and you can understand what you were looking at and who you would have thrown to. So our meeting schedule and the topics. Right now we've been doing during our smart lunch. So I explained it. Green Hope's got A, B smart lunches Monday through Friday. And so we've been trying to take time, A or B lunch. So we've had a couple where we've been in there for an hour, and we've had a couple where we were only in there for 30 minutes. So that we're trying to make it mandatory Monday and Friday, and that's exactly the schedule we're going to keep when we're doing a bunch of different meetings. But right now we've been meeting almost as much as we possibly want. As long as I have one kid in there, we're going to meet if they want to talk football. So that's what we've been doing, because it's also that one-on-one time is building that relationship. So we start off each session with a character development or a quarterback room motto conversation. So the first one, like I said, we went through those commandments. This last one, we kind of talked about, when we're going to be doing our draft, like it looks like all their names were for leaders. And so we were talking about what are some of the characteristics you're looking from your teammates that makes you like, oh yeah, I can trust him, or hey, I know I can put the ball in his hands. What are the characteristics that you see as another leader on our program that you would want to help you be a leader in the program? So we talked about that one day, and then we just checking in on how they're doing. A couple of them were stressed the other day. They both, they had some quizzes and tests, or they had to go meet with their teacher in the next 30 minutes. So we kind of just talked about that and just how things were going, excited about the holidays, just a bunch of different topics. After we kind of break the bread a little bit, then we'll kind of go into start our quarterback academy. Then we just get on the whiteboard. So this last week, the first day, we talked about the things that we're going to install, what we're taking out of, because it just doesn't fit what we do at Green Hope within the Powerade, and then the things that we're going to really focus on, so that we can cut out some of the fat, and let's make sure that we get good at what we ran well, and then things that we ran well in practice, how can we get better at that in a game, or what our defense is doing to take it away. So that's one of the things that we did. And then it was, like I said, we talked about stick. The plan is Monday is going to be like, an example is if we're talking about stick, it's going to be the install, what different variations that we have, how we run out of all the different formations, and then how we're tagging it backside and all that. And then what we plan on doing on that Friday is, okay, against these defenses, here's your progression, here's your reads. Boom, now what would you do if this happens? And so that's what we'll do on some chalk talk. So Monday will be the install of it, and then Friday will be getting on the board. And both the times, and we'll get down to it, is then we'll get into their questions. So So whiteboard install, and then we'll also get on the film and do a clip breakdown. So if I see a great example on Twitter, or like a big one is like Pace and Space has a great where you could just boom say that's your bookmarks, and we got on the board and we went through what H stick and Y stick and like the different variations of people running a stick bubble or the arrow with a stick. All right. And then we saw the different variations, and I was like, all right, so if we get a lot of man, guess what? The shock version of stick. So you going, hitch, and then going the slot fade with a stick, or even going the other where you go with a hitch and you're going then stick, and then the most insides actually run the slot fade. All right, that might be a great for us if they're going to play cover one or they're going to play press. All right, and we can have a guy that's shifty enough and beat him on that slot fade. Boom, we'll take that throw. All right. Or hey, this is using some of the motion. So all those different things of being able to let them see it on the whiteboard, go through it with our rules and our progression, and then be able to show our film, but then also showing a clip of what it looks like when it's executed very cleanly. All right, so that's what we do with that. And it's just starting in the basics and then building to the advancement of it. Then, like I said, on Friday, we'll go into the reads and the progressions. All right, if you're seeing a cover 4 and they're playing way off, what could be nice and easy. All right, we will maybe backside out of the 3x1. We might just install a speed out if they're playing way off 10 yards. Boom, we'll just take that speed out or that hitch, and here's why we would do that. All right, maybe keep the running back in if they're playing cover 4, and we'll just be quick. All right, if they're playing press, all right, what can we do on the backside? Well, the one thing that they love is they love throwing the rail route. So we'll go with maybe a slant rail on the backside of it, and that's what they're going to read if they feel like the running back can take that outside backer matchup. Okay, whatever they feel like they can do well, we're going to do it, because no more of trying to put a square peg in a round hole. It's what do the quarterbacks feel comfortable with, and that's what we're going to do. So if we can break down our offense even more and cut out all the fat, and here's what we can do, how can we dress up in a different formations or window dressing, and I'm fine with it. That's what I want them to do, and that's kind of also part of what the QB Academy is what do they do well, what do they like, and then what can we do to dress it up to be even better at it, so the defenses don't pick up on like, oh, it's 3x1, it's going to be stick or whatever and then for them to understand, look, all the window dressing and all the formations does not change what the concept is, okay, and what your progression is. The only way that it changes is if different coverages. And this is how you can speed up your process. And so we're learning the defenses and understanding how our stick concept or snag or when we run the ball, here's what we're trying to do, okay? And now they do this, what your read is. So your if then, and that's one thing I love about the gun tee is trying to teach these guys the if then. All right, here's your pre-snap. This is what you have. This is, okay, they're playing way off. All right, the mandatory outside release is gone. I am now reading what that conflict defender is doing. So you already know that pre-snap. Boom. Now all of a sudden post-snap, he does this, you do that. So that's one of the things that we've been kind of going through that and throwing them that, boom, here's the situation. Tell me what you're going to do. Boom. All right, there's your time. All right. And also going through the drills that we're going to do to get better at certain things and processing information. So then we're also, like I said, teaching them the defenses of why they're doing it and how they're going to do it. So then I already talked about it so that we can process the information now. So when we get out onto the field into practice or into drills, we can be a little bit faster. All right. And then the last thing that I'm going to talk about on what we're doing is we're going through a questions and application phase is where I'll let the quarterbacks ask their questions if something wasn't clear so that I know that I can do a better job with it. And then we have them apply or advance the concept. So like when we're running like a GT, and if we call it GT stick, all right, well, if they're going to have if they're going to have the middle backer is going to flow hard, we'll call it, this stick. All right, well, let's say that the backer's flying out. All right, the corner's flying out. Now there's nobody on that arrow. Okay. Who are we going to have run the arrow? Who's the guy that we want to run that arrow? How can we dress it up a little bit with some type of motion so that now all of a sudden, they're not going to be able to get any of our tendencies off of this formation or off of this motion. So that's kind of that's the application phase is here's a play call that we would do because the defense is doing this. And then we get on the film and it's like, so now this is what we did last year. How can we build upon this now that you guys are going through this training? Our guys the rest of our offense is understanding what we're doing. We're trying to make it super simple, make sure everybody knows their job. And we're doing all this training that we didn't get to do last year, but now we get to do all this training now. And then we'll do it again when spring ball and then get on the whiteboard even more before every practice in the summer. So we get all that application. Then we get out to the field, walk through it, and then boom, start hitting it during indies, boom, hit it, and now we should be getting all those reps that hopefully it'll make our offense flow a little bit better this year that we didn't get last year, which isn't an excuse, just reality that we didn't get all this time that we're getting with them, so we're going to make the most of it. But anyways, if you have any questions or if you do something different for Quarterback Academy that you think could help me and help us at Green Hope, please send it in. CoachMitchJohnson@gmail.com, or my Twitter is @CoachMMJohnson. Please hit me up, follow me, let's connect. Always trying to learn, want to advance my the things that we're doing. Like QB Academy is my first time truly breaking down and doing it this way. Like I said, just help me out if you have any ideas that you have with it. I'm down with it. And then if you ever need me to send anything, plenty of coaches can attest. I'll send it. I'm an open book. But anyways, good luck to all the rest of the teams that are going to be getting ready for Thanksgiving. The rest of the guys, hey, great season. And I hope that you guys have a truly good off season.